The first thing I'm going to do here is go to the repository here at Novoid and then run my command next to open my browser tools, which are here. Here I can have many aspects that are similar to what you find in agentic tools like OpenClaw. So there are some experiments here with conversations. They're really nice stuff. It's able to print here in the conversation artifacts, formulas, HTML, inline apps. And this time what I want to do is to share a bit more on an experiment that I did. So there's a canvas where all of our so-called artifacts, let's say, just to grab a concept that we're familiar with, are stored. And specifically this one called Blooks, I'm going to open it and show you what it is. So basically this is a block editor, and then you can come here and put a title, and then you'll have your comments for all these elements, headings. This is my heading, and you can split phrases and bring them back. You can reorder them. I can click and change the icon here. So there are many things. I can also add bullet points, item 1, 2, and 3. And there's a couple of interesting things that we can see here. So let's see if I can show you now. If I open this, the white paper. So this is a white paper that was built in an automated way. And why? Because all of the apps that we produce with Novoid have an MCP endpoint as well. So when I see here app, if I click here MCP, this is the other endpoint, and we can see here all the definitions for this MCP server that you can access, an agent can access. So you can read, you can do all of the actions that you can build on the block editor, and there's a big difference because you don't need to do this by hand. You can ask by providing this endpoint and having the appropriate authentication or token, and you can go and edit your own block editor. So what I prepared as well is a presentation, and I'm going to be browsing through that in Notebook LM. And it's over here. I built this the white paper here, and I turned this white paper into a Notebook LM presentation. It's going to be easier to go through, and then we'll come back to this. But why block editors are tricky? Because they're very complex. You need to support many ways of interactions there, keystrokes, drag and drops. They can be extended. So there are some nice features that we also have here. Let me see if this one has the example. No, it doesn't. Somewhere there. But maybe we can run an example later with the help of the agentic engine here. So this is the presentation that I have here. This one, the single file agent native editor. And this is the nice thing. This all is fitting a single file, and it can replace many of the WYSIWYG editors and block editors that we've been using. So you will see some of the messages behind Novoid in this presentation. Novoid is the platform that enabled the construction of this editor, and I'm considering integrating that as one of the tools in the ecosystem, because it's useful also to have an editor that can be taken by an AI. And some interesting things. This is an explanation of the Novoid platform, very succinctly. So there's a convex backend, there's a reactive core, and there's a CSS system. So we can see that in action as well. We can change here skins. And then there's the MCP endpoints that run on convex. So everything publishes instantly. Any change that you do goes into the app that you're working on. Now, these are some internal aspects of how the editor was built, and saying we're not having a virtual DOM or fancy stuff like that, but we have a one-on-one mapping from sections that are part of the render engine that we have on Novoid directly with blocks. So this mapping allows us to do in a very simple way the definition of the document. So we use the create store capacity that we have inside of Novoid just to replicate with these attributes a document. And then interesting things here is that we don't have these issues with having HTML and trying to parse all of this in the tags. And it's easier to just pass that as structured data. So this is the way things are stored. And this is the features that we have on the editor. We have the slash commands. We have the drag and drops, markdown that changes the attributes of text. The skins I already mentioned. And it mentions also block types. Some of them are still pending implementation, but the proof of concept is already very lightweight. This is just to reinforce this idea that now all of the applications that Novoid is able to produce are having this twofold paths for interacting. One is human interaction on the browser, and the other is having an MCP on AI agent going directly to interact with the app. So it gets all of the buttons and actions and everything that you have to interact with the UI is mapped directly into an MCP function. So you can read anything, and you can write and interact with the page. And it has, through convex, it has persistence. So then you can split also work between an agent and a human for every app that we produce in Novoid and store. Then let me see if we can if I got here to talk about the test bed. So this is establishing a contrast on the bottle side compared to other tools, and let's say large companies that are very well funded. So what's more or less the estimate of their application size, lines of code. And here's again, this is related to Novoid, so you don't have a process where you go and migrate blocks into something, but it's just instantly translated, and you can see that is right away published. Then some things, and this is good also to take into consideration. What are the limitations and trade-offs? I don't think this is talking about the block editor. It's talking perhaps about the platform itself. So serial dependency is one of the key things. You don't need to install modules, and therefore my expectation is that we tend to reach a stable point where whatever we have in the platform is never going to change, because it's the best practice ever. And that means we don't have legacy code. We don't have libraries that we need to update. Of course, this is kind of a dream or a vision, because there's always the chance that you have some errors and then you need to update and patch because of the security holes or anything that you open. But this is kind of the attributes that we have right now on the platform. And then here are some things that belong to the human bias developing. So it says the constraint is no TypeScript. It actually has TypeScript, but we don't use it, or we don't care about it that much. Mainly, my opinion about TypeScript and all the scaffold that we're using for developing is that it's based on helping humans not to make mistakes, but that's something we don't have on AI, or we have that under control because we can have a closer loop for testing. And complexity is a choice. It's the ending of this. So let me just now do something else. I'll close all of this, and I want to try something here. Let me just go right into Cloud, into the folder, and then can you show me the end tests that we run on the block? Let's see if the context is fine, otherwise I'll need to steer it into the right direction. So it's grabbing already the app that's named Bloops, and hopefully in a moment it's going to be able to explain to us what it is going to do, what it does with these end-to-end tests. So the thing here is we have in Novoid a browser, a headless browser that is able to pick the MCP, and then through that browser you can also run all of the tests. So you see here is the protocol for the testing. Let me just contrast this a little bit more. So there's a whole end-to-end test suite running on the headless server through the MCP hardware. What this does is it helps us refine all of the business rules of the application without having interference from the actual representation or styles or layout. Why this is important? Because most of the amazing stuff that we're seeing from agents are related to Playwright and to other tools that go into the browser and start clicking stuff, and they're fantastic. They're really fireworks to make everyone amazed. But it's just like having an industrial robot holding a broom upwards and doing an inverted pendulum process and control. It amazes everyone, but it helps no one. It's just a gimmick. And why I say that? Because it takes ages when you really want to. Oh, people is really noisy today. When you have the need to iterate very fast, then it's no fun, babysitting the browser and seeing all these clicks happening. And sometimes, these tools are not that efficient. They make mistakes as well. So it's recommending here run the Bloops tests. Why not? And let's see if we can see now how it goes. So what it is going to be doing is it's going to be publishing the app, and then in the app publishing, you will see that we are running a verifier with a couple of modules here, and something I call news, which is composed of 3 blocks that confirm or verify the syntax of HTML, of JavaScript and CSS inside a single file. And then we have a browser, and this one is running now headless the tests that we defined. Now, the amazing thing is that through this process, I was able to fix many complicated things that we have in block editors, like what happens when you press certain keys in the middle of a sentence, or what happens if you click on undo, then redo again. If you select a certain block and then do a tab or anything that can happen, all of the events are very complex. And then sometimes you have tricky things. So some of the problems I was solving were related to the index that you get for each block. So let's say you open a block below a paragraph in the middle of your document, and then if you click go to next block or enter, you want to open a second block, and it went to somewhere else in the document because the indexes were wrong. So in order to catch that, what I had to do is kind of run by hand all of these tests, then grab screens, pass them over to the LLM, and all of that is this. Let's say this is a single test, and imagine trying to do hundreds of tests like this. So here you see the exact details. All of these are steps, and this is exactly what it is doing. It's kind of trying out all of the processes that we need to check that keep working. So every time I rebuild the block editor, it runs again all of these steps, and at the end you get a result. In this case, it took 85 seconds to run 110 steps, making sure that whatever we changed is stable and it's not changing something. It's not having, cross effects around your source code. So yeah, this is what I wanted to record on this video. One of the things I think is amazing about this Novoid platform is precisely the test bed. So the test rig that we have, and the idea of splitting that into a very fast process that you can run once and again. And the other thing, of course, I didn't have to write all of the steps. So what I did is, I need you to go and be thorough about how all of the possible interactions that can happen in this block are tested. What if I delete something? What if I add a character? What if I move my cursor with arrows? What if I want to go to the end? So all of this is around here. So yes, amazing. I'm so happy that this app is just going so well, and it's open source. You can also review this latest version and the editor in your open source solution. And the only thing I want to try is, can you create no, let's do this. No, leave me alone. Let's do the following thing. I was here, and then I have this document, and I'm going to ask, can you add some custom blocks on this document? Before that, let me just show you something. I have all of these different blocks. They're very simple presentation blocks. And then I have something that's a call out. This is a call out. And this call out, if I click on that, it's going to be expanding. And I can also add another block that is code. And here I can say 10 print hello, and 20 go to 10, and I can put here, right now it's just configured to be JavaScript, but I can basically configure this to have any programming language here. So what I was thinking is, what if I combine these two blocks together? So whenever I have a call out followed by a block of code that is CSS, we apply that CSS directly to the block. So this is what I'm attempting to do, and let's see if the MCP is able to help us there. So hopefully it will. Otherwise, I'll scrap this part of the video. So it's kind of figuring out the context now, checking the app, and it's already seeing that there's an MCP tool call, and we'll see if we are able to see changes on this specific document. So the document has a doc ID and a write token. We are able now to write into the document, and I was doing this. So it's generating it's reading a state. So we see already the title here, and we have, it was able to parse all of this. We have the bullets, content 3, and then there's item 1 here. So it's able to read it. And now, say it added 12 new blocks. You can see them live, and there it is. So this is agent added content, describe it is live, and it says it has a checklist here, and then all this. Fine. Now try to see how call out block can be changed when followed by a CSS code block, and add a nice example. So let's see now if it is able to do this. So as you see, the agent now is able to produce these materials in a very fast way. So this is the way we can connect, and we can also interact. So if there's anything that I didn't like, then I can come over here and edit by hand. So now we're kind of collaborating between an AI agent and a human to produce content. And what is missing now is to extend this to support images, or to scrape these images from anywhere we want, to add URLs. I think you can add links here already. You get a link and you can provide here complete link pages. So there it is. Look at that. Style callouts. So this is not a block that I had considered in my tool here. So this is composed of having a sequence of blocks. So I have the callout block, and then below that I have a very nicely designed gradient block. Probably it's not going to survive. Well, it did well, not that bad. Skin changes. But as you see, this means I can play around with the CLI directly. I don't need to go to consume tokens elsewhere. I can just come here and ask for certain styles. I can post my style sheets and try to adapt the text that I want to into this format, and it's all going to be agentic, and it's stored here and persisted whenever I reload. Of course, this is still there. So